Now, with the day before's recent controversy, there are people crying out for a massive survival MMO. Now, there are lots of those out there, but nothing really too amazing on the horizon. There are a couple which we'll be covering in a few days' time, but if the day before gave you an itch that you didn't know you had when it comes to a survival extraction shooter, then this is the game for you. This is Nakwon, and this is the day before if it was done right and it actually worked on release. Yes, it was a massive lie. It wasn't a survival MMO, it was a zombie extraction game, which is what Nakwon is. Hopefully I am pronouncing that right. I'm not 100% sure where it's from, I don't know if it's Chinese or not. But it is developed and published by Mint Rocket, and they recently had an alpha. So this one is definitely not a scam. There are many people that have played it. There is a lot of gameplay footage out there. And for the alpha, it was available to everyone, and it was free. They will be hosting another either alpha or test sometime within the next few months. They haven't given an exact date yet because they want to add a few more things and work to fix what is currently in the game before they do another open test. Now, if you do want to know a little bit more about this game, all of the relevant links are in the description down below. But the developers recently did a Q&A, which is really, really cool. But overall, the game is a third-person zombie apocalypse stealth survival game. Well, it's not so much a survival game. There are things with the survival elements that they're going to be adding later on, which could punish players a little bit more, such as food, health, things like that. And you can take items back, similar to Tarkov, and upgrade your sort of home and make things a little bit better there. But you'll be going out, gathering resources from the PvPvE city, where zombies and survivors will coexist to survive in a new social structure. Now, this looks really, really interesting, especially the amount of detail and the emphasis on the actual sneaking elements. Now, the day before, that was what that should have been. Even if it was a lie that it wasn't a survival MMO, it should have been how this game is playing. Now, everything that you see in the background is footage from their last alpha test, which ended just a couple of weeks ago. I'm really gutted that I missed it. Didn't even know this game existed until the other day. But if you are looking for a scratch to that itch of a extraction sort of looter shooter with zombies tied in there, then this is definitely going to be the one for you. And I have a feeling this could be something that starts to be developed quite a lot. Similar to games like, obviously, Tarkov took the extraction game quite cool, and a lot of people really, really started to get into it with that. And I do love Tarkov. There's a rumour or something along the lines of them releasing an arena version, so mainly just drop in PvP, which sounds and looks pretty cool. Now, the beauty of this game is there is a massive emphasis on that stealth aspect. Now, the stealth aspects look really, really cool. You've got to sneak around, and as you can see, you've got like rings, like a sort of sonar ping on the floor. The zombies react to almost everything, and they are extremely deadly. There was rumours that in the latest alpha they were very, very much nerfed and a little bit slow and you could outrun them, so they didn't really pose too much of a threat, and that way players were more of a threat. But their developers have said that they're going to improve that and make zombies much, much more of a deadly threat. Because if you alert one of them, that one will scream and then alert others. This was something that was implemented towards this last alpha. Now, those guys coming in will alert more and more and more, and eventually you will end up with a horde chasing you around like there's no tomorrow, which is really, really cool. And from what I've seen, the hordes look like they could be relatively easy to deal with if you have a firearm. But the downside of having that firearm is the fact that that's just going to continually make more noise and then bring in more hordes. Now, the game does have a main quest line, which is actually quite interesting. There are quests that you can do throughout the game which will enhance your standing with things like traders, and you'll get cash and paid items for them. There's also high value loot areas, so basically giant POIs that you can go into, which will have varying loot such as extremely high value loot or massive overpowered weaponry, which you're definitely going to need for those PvP aspects. Now, something that I saw was really, really cool with this is you've got throwable items which you can use to distract the zombies and sneak around and try and get through to your mission without actually attacking or killing anything at all, which is good, and you can be sneaky as hell. But then there are obviously going to be other players which are really, really sneaky too. But that emphasis on the stealth aspect, they will be sneaking around, and if they make noises, they open doors too quickly, you'll be able to hear them, which will alert you to their presence. But you can also do things like throw bricks towards players if they don't know where you are, which will alert nearby zombies to those players, which then could really enhance the ways that you take out other enemies. It won't have to be a strictly PvP element. you could kill loads of enemies without actually having to fire or go anywhere near them. Just bring in loads of zombies towards them, which is really, really cool, and I like that. And in terms of the actual PvP aspects, they are planning on doing a little bit more towards the PvE side as well. In their Q&A, the things they say here are, so when it comes to that solo aspect, the things that they really want to focus on is housing and character advancements, such as skills, achievements, quests. That's going to be their main focus, and they're going to be considering more hardcore mechanics, like starving a character will cause you to die, you'll need to drink, you'll need to eat, and you'll need things for basic sort of comfort. And then for the PvP aspects, they are considering things later down the line to cater to that for the solo players that PvP stresses out. They don't want to split up the player pool too much yet, because they want to keep as many eyeballs on this as possible. And honestly, the PvP community is definitely, I would say, much bigger, and this is the type of game for them more than those solo players. Because if you are playing solo, there's not really too much longevity in it unless there's a lot of updates. Once you've gone in, done a couple of raids, got everything for your house, that'll be pretty much it. You can only go so far unless you just want to build up and build up and build up. But when it comes to PvP, jumping on with your mates, having a bit of fun, brilliant. How the actual co-op aspect will work, I've not seen too much on that yet. I can't seem to find any sort of clear evidence of what it's going to be like. I didn't see anybody playing co-op, so I don't know if there's the actual frameworks in the game for that yet, or whether you just have to drop in and luck would have it if you find someone. Because from what it looks like in the alpha, you don't actually get to pick servers. It will throw you in wherever it wants to throw you, and wherever the space and is closest for you. So what do you think of Nakwon Last Paradise? Does it look good? Is it something that interests you? I know it's not the usual type of survival game that I cover here on the channel, but I want to do a little bit more along that survival aspect with a bit more PvP. I did like things like DayZ, but I'm really not very good at DayZ. There's a couple more massive survival MMOs that are PvE, PvP that I want to check out over the next few weeks. So make sure you stick around for that. We will be checking out the usual stuff such as Myst as well. We're going to jump in and I think we're just going to have a new series on Myst, and I'm going to show off all the new locations where everything needs to be and where you can find things. Because I was doing very well with the Myst content, but obviously I stepped away to check out Starfield and start a second channel focusing mainly on one game, which worked really, really well, so thank you for all the support on that. But now I want to try and juggle both now. Starfield's dying down a little bit, I'm just going to be doing less content on there. So here, the content will be, there'll be at least 3 videos a week at a minimum, so make sure you stick around for that. If survival is your jam though, and zombies, then this is the place to be. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for much more zombie survival content.